It was a tangled herbal for Rick's Janet Tabocchili, the CDO critic, told the journal in March of 2007. Um, any savvy investors would have thrown this in the trash bin, but what if this was a $1.5 billion CDO and Merrill could sell only of it? What happened to the others, Mayum or of Norma, all of which was AAA? That's what when onto Merrill's books. It took the long position on the AAAs. This was the exposure that Semercy was claiming was nearly ringless. A lawsuit will later claim that Merrill was actively seeking to move inward securities of these books and into the hands of unsuspecting clients without questions. Merrill Lynch was doing that, especially with the triple Bs, in one of the simplest examples of Merrill's efforts to Orleans. Some of the junks on its balance sheets its actuality seconds the sales supreme lamps from Alwyn by dollars supreme originator which it partially owned after Owen filed for bankruptcy. The again every author being serious underwrite on Wall Street, Citibank, UBS, Morgan Stanley, you name it, it was doing the exactly same thing. People on the onside thought the market was going gangbusters because of all the deals getting done. CDOs expected Ken Phillips, Darrell Blumberg. People on the insides knew it was a last gasp effort to clear out the warehouse. In the aftermath of crisis, Goldman Sachs would be the firm's what was by the Fartemom's critics for selling it glanced down the river in the efforts to get rid of these own books. In truth, Goldman was just better at it than Merrill and others. It was tighter and smarter in the way it went about it, and there was an even bigger difference between the way Merrill and Holman went about attempting to reduce risks. Goldman has institutions never believed that a teeny bit of extra returns offered by AAA to bring banking securities was worth the risks, as it began marking down insecurities and pushing them off its books. It treated AAA as just as reducedly as it treated all the other supreme securities it was making. On May 2007, Don Kim announced that he was leaving Merrill Lynch to start a Hitgate fund. Finally, O'Neill said he could go during the previous 3 years. The firm's trading revenues had doubled. In 2006, his last full year with the firm, Kim was Merrill's second. He gets paid exit after only O'Neill taking home a paycheck of $37 million, along with Fakahani. O'Neill had always viewed Kim as part of his inner circle and was gracious about his departure. It was only after the crisis that O'Neill would reflect back on Kim's sudden departure, wondering why his head of fixed income hadn't seen the problems coming. Or worse, O'Neill's would think it his darkest moment. Maybe he had seen incoming. Maybe that's why Kim had left. This seems unlikely. Mercy would later insist that he had shown Kim his risk positions according to several former executives, but people who have seen the emails traffic say that doesn't appear to be the case. One day, several months after he had left the firm, Kim returned to Merrill's headquarters trying to roastly at Merrill's Lynch investment for his hit found he ran into John Bright in the hallway. It's a devolvable Bright told him relating the enormous subprime exposure. Kim was astounded. We don't have all that stuff. He replied that truly he had no. For that New Yorker article, O'Neill's predecessor David Komensky told his reader John KTC that he simply didn't believe O'Neill was unaware of the film's serious exposure. Hart thought it may be to believe that those appeared to be case. Stan was no longer taught in, said former executives, and the same team Goldman executives were constantly vacations to deal with the burgeoning subprime crisis. O'Neill was often on the golf course playing round after round by himself. They had little on the direct contact with any of the firm's operations. He had the lightened that the Fleming, Fakani, and others. Always a longer, he had become isolated from his own firm. He had no idea that his risk manager had been pushed outside or that the people he had put in important positions were out of their depths. Amazing as it sounds, out on the golf course, the CEO of Merrill Lynch really didn't have a clue. In August, O'Neill went to Martha's vineyard for vacations. By then, the market was signaling that the end was near. On the ABX, even the Triple S were starting to drop in balloon. In late July, the town had its work week in the more than 4 years. The serious market continued to contract. Day after day, the declining continued. Somehow, the combination of the ongoing turmoil in the market and his ability to step back and see things more clearly while he was further away from Wall Street had the effect of finally rousing O'Neill's. By the time they returned to work at the beginning of September, he was no longer in Daniel. O'Neill's finally understood that the AAA securities on Merrill's books posed a hook trade to the firms. At a minimum, the securities were going to have to market down, and there would have to be great down that would damage Merrill's earnings. The firm's third-quarter earnings report was due in October. He had a month to come to terms with the problem. As they talked about it, O'Neill wasn't just worried. The memory of the LDCM disaster was flooding back. He was scared. John Braid understood the problem by the as well in Joel Latanzio had commanded to Junior Watts and told them to think of a new evaluation method the mortgage debts was wanted to use for serious spread. The quants, feeling they were began, asked to ratify something that had not been beaten out proper channels, complained to their manager. The manager happened to tell Braid the history. Braid's curiosity was sparked, calling in a favor from someone in the financial department. He got hold of a spreadsheet with the collateral in serious discord. He quickly saw how bad it was. He kept digging quickly. Before long, he had discovered to $55 million exposure.